suffer no more. To his hand and let him give you peace. Let his wisdom give you guidance. Give all your worries to him. I'm trying to tell you, 'cause I've been there, and by his grace I'm still here. 'Cause you got to hold on. Don't you get weak, you can hold on. Don't you give up, be strong. You don't have to cry, hold on. We can make it. I know that the fire can get deep, and it can seem like every part of you is weak, but that's when he is strong. Just know it won't be long. Don't be hasty, it's a marathon. Just hold on to his hand and let him give you peace. Let his wisdom give you guidance. Give all your worries to him. Don't get weary, 'cause I've been there, and by his grace I'm still here. 'Cause you got to hold on. Don't you get weak, you can hold on. You're gonna make it. Be strong. You don't have to cry. Hold on. We can make it. Hold on. Hold on. Be strong. Hold on. Hold on. Be strong. Yeah. 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 'Cause he said in his word, hold on. Cast your cares upon him. Hold on. Hold on. Be strong. We can make it. Hold on. Hold on. You can make it. Hold on. Gotta believe it. Be strong. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Just hold on. Hold on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Be strong. We can make it.
Not the yeah. Smooth shit. Yeah. Pull up, the block spinning. New ride and my girlfriend's master presidential inside. Yeah. Ray-Bans on my eyes. We done bruised in charge. I don't know why they still be looking surprised. Add fuel to my fire, take it higher than they ever seen. My life a movie and I'm living out the best scenes. They call me cocky, in reality I'm confident. And every night we taking shots to our accomplishments. Cheers. A lot of food, put it on my plate. And baby pressing not to tell her to wait. She see the signs of the times and the world is so boring. I'd rather pull out the old schools and new foreigns. Tell me what you want, I'll tell you what you need. Them other niggas stuck, Bruce took the lead. I'm teaching on them streets that I used to run. And afterwards chilling with my Aki on. What's up? Jake's claiming that they own. And they crew is legit. Yeah. I see the things that they doing when they do it out, but they don't do it like this. Not at all. Niggas say that they the bomb, and they really be lit. What? I see the things that they doing when they do it out, but they don't do it like this. Straight game, money over fame. Put it in accounts, double the amount on some Oprah shit. On occasion we be toasting, and what I'm sipping now the same color as the ocean is. Ride slow with the beat up, sister got her feet up. Head wrap with a skirt on when we meet up. It's really see a play. My vibe reading South Central LA. And yeah, we got it cracking from the streets to the bay. All praises to Yahweh when I kneel and I pray, knowing it's all good. I teach truth and spread light in the hood, doing exactly what we want, they only do what they could. Common sense is genius dressed in his working clothes. It's like I work and work more, y'all just working clothes. A lot of bad attitudes and some broken souls. The city of fallen angels, guess that's how it goes. Damn. Jake's claiming that they own, and they crew is legit. I bet. I see the things that they doing when they do it out, but they don't do it like this. Niggas say that they the bomb, and they really be lit. I see the things that they doing when they do it out, but they don't do it like this. True Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want to take this time and introduce you to Shalam Yasharahla. Man, this right here is groundbreaking.
Shut up, Mark.
This is I appreciate you for this one. Let's go ahead and show them how Israel get down. In the chariot, and you know that it got me. Feeling so good, that's all I need. We got the family in place, y'all. Drinks getting poured, see the looks on our face, y'all. It's going up. In the chariot, and you know that it got me. Feeling so good, that's all I need. At the feast getting right, we waiting for the kingdom, but it's finna be a hell of a night, yeah.
Long week, so I pull up. A branding on my wrist when I show up. Fingers and my toes on buff. Take my time, listen up, so I'm late showing up. I throw my body on the floor. Watch got the ice, so mixing up. It's all love, cause it's all us. Color lights on, got me feeling glowed up. It's giving vibes tonight. Everybody's looking right. Bodies on the floor. It's going up, let's go. It's a family affair. On and on and on till the break of dawn. And in the kingdom to come. It's a family affair. On and on and on till the break of dawn. And in the kingdom to come.
All the fam is there. Not everybody understands the way that we go up, the way that we show up. It's always good vibes. Harness on the grill, slapping bones until the table tilts. Spiritual conversation, I'm gaining wisdom, it's all good. We got the bishops in the house tonight. The kids are acting right. I can only imagine what it would be like when we get home.
It's giving vibes tonight. Everybody's looking right. Bodies on the floor. It's going up, let's go. It's a family affair. On and on and on till the break of dawn. And in the kingdom to come. It's a family affair. On and on and on till the break of dawn. And in the kingdom
as soon as we pull up, you know what's going down. It's a family affair, baby, so come around. Kick back and take a shot with the team. It's a vibe with the tribe sitting on cloud 9, feeling like a dream. So fly and exclusive. With the fam, big friends with the blue strip. Real love, got the spirit right. This one for the books, we going up and we ain't ending tonight.
It's a family affair. On and on and on till the break of dawn. And in the kingdom to come. It's a family affair. On and on till the break of dawn. And in the kingdom to come.
True Nation.
Yeah, yeah.
Shalam Yasharahla. Y'all know what it is.
Shalom, Israel. Shalom. Welcome back to another Q&A. This is our monthly open, to the public class for questions and answers coming from the Bible. This is not a platform for debate. I know the information of Israel is going across the world and everybody's chiming in. Don't come here to debate. We're here to answer sincere questions related to the Bible. Also, this is not a platform for counsel. Reach out to us individually. You can, hit us up on Facebook or YouTube or reply at truenation.org. I'm Brother Yashamai to my right.
Darash. Brother Shamar.
All praise be to the Most High. Most High willing, we can answer you guys' questions. So we got the class open. Go ahead and flood them questions in, Israel. Anything that you may have, especially for those who are tuning in who may not be all the way into the Israelite faith. You may be in the Christian church or the Catholic church. If you've always had questions about the Bible that no one really seems to answer, right, or want to answer, ask them. And we'll be able to open up this word, Most High willing, and show you what thus saith the Lord. All right? There's a lot going on in the world. A lot of people are asking questions, honestly. And I even ask people questions like when we be out and about. I just be like, hey, so what you think about what Kanye said? I was playing Call of Duty the other day and was talking to some brothers in the lobby about it. Said, what you think about what Kanye said? Yeah, he was like, well, I agree, but I'm a 5%er. I'm like, well, at least you agree. That's a start. It is a start. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he gonna give you that. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. Yep. But see, the good thing is when we actually recognize it, when the Most High is like, hitting us or pulling us like, hey, and you take heed, it feel a lot better. Like, okay, I know I'm doing the right thing, Know we doing the right thing. And that's the beautiful part about it all. What we're teaching to the world is not anything that we're not putting a knife to no one's neck saying, believe in the Most High Yahweh or die. Because the Bible already says that. If you don't believe, then you're going to die in your unfaithfulness, right? But all we're trying to do is tell people, like, look, for one, we have been lied to. This is a fact. Everybody else on this earth knows where they come from. They know who their forefathers are. They have a nation that they belong to. So-called blacks and Latinos and Native Americans, we the only ones who really can't pinpoint, where our history starts, right? So we're telling people, look, not only have you been lied to and that you actually have, a nation to call yours, the nation of Israel. You're the chosen people of God, holy, set apart. However, we have to keep God's commandments. That's when things usually go left. Yeah, it is. Yeah, but that's why even the Bible talks about a willing mind, and that's even in general conversation. You have to be willing to be open to different perspectives. Like if you're only looking at it from this way and can't see it no other way, then 9 times out of 10 you'll miss it. But if you can kind of just take yourself back from the situation and like, okay, well, I don't know who I am. I don't know where I come from. The Bible is saying this and it's saying that. Plus these people are saying this and saying that. There's probably some truth there, but a lot of people, it's easier to be ignorant, I guess, right?
Brother asks, Scripture say is better to marry than to burn. If a man is married but his wife is not providing relations at all, is that a divorceable offense? So let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. In plain, no, the scriptures don't say that you can divorce a woman or that a relationship is going to end because she's not providing relations. However, the balance in that is it commands us not to abstain, right? We're going to get 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and let's start at verse 1.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 1. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband.
So he said it is good if you can avoid, a man avoiding needing that. But if you do, to avoid fornication, so that you don't start getting caught up, you lose control, whatever the case may be, you start going down the wrong path. You have, go ahead and get married. There's nothing wrong with that. Go ahead.
Verse 3, let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband.
So then he said due benevolence. That's something that's owed. So he's talking about burning and talking about fornication, and then he's talking about don't withhold what's owed. That's literally a part of the relationship. People call it the wifely duties, right? That's a duty. So continue on.
The wife hath not power of her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband hath not power of his own body, but the wife.
So it's that simple, right? This intimacy is still important. Sex is still important in a relationship. And I put it this way, right? You can talk to somebody every day that doesn't make you married. You can share a bank account. You can bunk with somebody, be living together. None of those things make you married. The only thing that is the difference between a really good friend or someone that you're passionate about being interested in versus actual marriage is when you come together sexually. That's what starts a marriage. It still has to be present through the marriage. And the scriptures say the woman doesn't have power over her own body, nor the husband. Now, obviously, the scriptures talk about not being a lion in your house. There's still a balance. But if it's just I don't feel like it, if it's not like a medical thing, there should be no reason that a man or a woman are refusing their spouse. Read verse 5.
Verse 5, defraud you not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency.
So he said, defraud ye not one another. Clearly saying that when you're not, performing, you're defrauding your partner. It says, except now, unless it's for a time that you may give yourselves to fasting and prayer. Okay, now right now, this is where I am. I'm trying to build myself up in the spirit. I'm trying to focus on the Most High or read, fast today. So this is something that we're going to abstain from. But then he says, come together again. So it's not a divorceable offense, but it's no reason that a woman righteously could be refusing her husband and there's nothing wrong. It's just her preference. Oh, you did this today. Oh, whatever the case may be. Everybody come up with they different reasons or their different logic. But ultimately, the scriptures say you're not supposed to be defrauding your husband, and a man's not supposed to defraud his wife.
And that was a good scripture. Go to Matthew 19 as well. So definitely, given that balance on how things should be. But, going back to the question as far as whether or not that's something you can put your wife away for, no. The only time you're able to actually, divorce your woman is if she's found in a case of fornication, right? And we'll read that here. Let's read Matthew 19 and verse 9.
Matthew chapter 19 and verse 9. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication.
So if you was to divorce your wife or put your wife away for anything outside of fornication, right? Go ahead.
And shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whoso marrieth her, which is put away, doth commit adultery.
So you can see it's a huge offense for a woman to be divorced for, other things for things outside of fornication. It said both people end up becoming adulterers as those people, continue to live on and remarry and do things like that. So to be, a little bit more specific and give some instances, a man would be able to divorce his wife if his wife was found, sleeping with another man. In extreme cases, if she was, having sexual relationships with animals or things like that. These are reasons why you could divorce your wife and put her away. Not simply because, she's not, giving up her body to you, as the scriptures say. That would just have to be something that gets worked on throughout that relationship. But no, you wouldn't be able to put her away for that.
second part of the question, will this offense allow a man to seek a second wife? And if so, do both parties have to agree?
For the offense of a woman committing fornication?
No, for not giving it up.
Oh, okay. If a woman, let's go to Ephesians real quick. First Peter 3:1, actually. So just because a woman is not giving up, sex, is that worthy for a man to go and seek out another wife? Go ahead.
1 Peter 3:1. Likewise, you wives, be in subjection to your own husbands.
The Bible commands the women to be in subjection to their own husbands. So, is it something that both parties need to agree upon? No, because the man's word is final at the end of the day, and the woman is supposed to be in subjection to her man. Okay. However, using wisdom, if that's something that you would like to do, then by all means, go ahead. But there's no blueprint on how to get a second wife in the Bible. Secondly, polygyny, the action in which men can have more than one wife, is something that a man can, choose to go and do at any point. If you have one wife, you can do it. You have instances of our forefathers getting multiple wives, at the same occasion. So it doesn't have to be an offense for a man to want and go and get a second wife. If that's something a man just wants to do, then by all means, you can go ahead and do that as long as you're taking care of him as according to the Bible and according to the word of the Most High.
Brother asks, what do the scriptures say about discipline?
Can you be a little bit more specific? Because there's a couple of scriptures that talk about, discipline. You have God disciplining the nation of Israel. We have laws and judgments on how we're supposed to discipline ourselves. There's scriptures that talk about how to discipline your kids. So what type of discipline are you talking about? Right, there's self-discipline,
One of the things, let's go to Proverbs 25 and 28. I think this one kind of encompasses a little bit of all of them. 28. Self-discipline kind.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 25, and verse 28. He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls.
So that's one of the things, we always try to control situations, right? We always try to control our circumstances, but we can't control the things around us, the things that are happening to us, even oftentimes. You can only control how you react. So he says, he that hath no rule over his own spirit, right? The emotions that come up, the thoughts that you have, if you're unable to control those things, it says it's like a city that is broken down without walls. When a city doesn't have walls, anybody can come in, anybody can go out. In times of war, there's no defense. It's just you're exposed. Anybody can come and do anything, take what they want, leave what they want. So there's no real control. There's no real structure.
It says, he that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls.
Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7. Ecclesiastes chapter 7. We'll read verse 9.
Ecclesiastes 7 and 9. Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools.
So the scriptures are telling you to be able to control your temper at the end of the day. There are things that people may say that's offensive. There's things that people may say that might get you in a position where you kind of want to pop off. A lot of us, before we came into the truth, had that tendency because we felt like if someone talks to me, in this particular way, then this is how I'm supposed to react as a man or as a woman, as an adult. You ain't gonna just disrespect me. I'm grown, blah, 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 blah. But the scriptures tell you that you don't need to be popping off like that, because if you're that quick to get angry, kind of going back to the scripture that Shamar just brought out, if you can't rule your own spirit, that means anyone's able to manipulate you. At any point, I know which buttons to press to make you mad. I know which buttons to press to make you cry. I know which buttons to press to make you want to fight. Scriptures say you can't be quick to get upset. You can't be quick to be emotional, because that type of stuff rests in the bosom of fools. That means that's the type of stuff that fools hold close. That's the type of stuff that foolish individuals do. Most High doesn't look highly on that. Y'all have some?
Proverbs 16:32. It says, "He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city." So it says if you're slow to anger, that's better than the mighty. So as much as we'll look at physical discipline, physical strength, someone who looks mighty, as much as we admire that, it said he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. It says, and he that ruleth his spirit, then he that taketh a city. Now that's like the ultimate, like a conquering, right? Take a whole city, you defeated your enemies, all the spoils of war, all the things and all the glory of that moment. And it still says that if you're ruling over your spirit, you're greater than someone that accomplishes that much. So it's really about, like you said, not reacting off that emotion, having control of your own reaction of your own spirit. That's ultimately what that self-discipline is.
Both of y'all added on to it. I'll add to it as well. We can go to Wisdom of Solomon. And overall, I would say for anyone who's looking to have, more discipline in all those different areas, but especially self-discipline, Wisdom of Solomon and the book of Ecclesiasticus, also called Sirach, those are some great books that can have you, really read through points of wisdom and how to add it to your life so that you can become more disciplined, right? So let's read Wisdom of Solomon 1 and verse 1.
Wisdom of Solomon 1:1, love righteousness.
So the Bible's saying love righteousness. The main thing that's going to be able to get you in a space to be disciplined is, for one, you have to be in obedience to the Most High. And you have to love it, right? Go ahead.
Ye that be judges of the earth, think of the Lord with a good heart, and in simplicity of heart seek him.
Read.
For he will be found of them that tempt him not, and showeth himself unto such as do not distrust him.
Exactly, because it actually takes a certain type of discipline to believe in the Most High, because the Most High just doesn't act whenever you snap your fingers or as soon as you send up a prayer. There's actually some discipline that you need to have while on this journey and trusting the Most High, learning how to trust in yourself, right? Go ahead.
For forward thoughts separate from God.
Right, so when you're on your path to becoming more disciplined, right, these same principles apply. When you entertain foolishness, when you having thoughts that's going left, that's being adverse to what we should be focused on, which is the law, then that's a situation showing you how you're not disciplining yourself. And the Most High, because you'll see that discipline itself is a Holy Spirit, it doesn't want to dwell within us. So go ahead.
And his power, when it is tried, reproveth the unwise.
Read.
For into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in the body that is subject unto sin.
Now watch this. Go ahead.
For the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit.
You see that? So we have to discipline ourselves spiritually first and foremost, and everything else is going to follow into your physical and everything else. But the Most High said that the Holy Spirit of discipline is going to flee us when we're dealing with deceit, things that are deceitful, not upright. Go ahead.
And remove from thoughts that are without understanding, and will not abide when unrighteousness cometh in.
Exactly. So there's nothing wrong in wanting to build yourself up in different areas, but we always have to make sure that you're focusing on the core thing, right? And that's our spirit, making sure that we're in obedience to the Most High so that all those great attributes and things that we're trying to work on ourselves can dwell in us easier, right?
Oh.
For those who are on Facebook, if you guys can interact with the chat real quick, just to see if we're having some difficulties. But send your guys' questions in. Sis, you got anything? Any questions? You should. What? Okay, what you want to know? What's your specific question?
Oh, my goodness. Repeat the question. Can we read it? I mean, can Maccabees chapter, First Maccabees, 1 and 52. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 52. We can read that.
First Maccabees 1 and 52. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succor. Now the 15th day of the month Caslu, in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire. And wheresoever was found with any the book of the testament, or if any consented to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death.
So, what do you want to know about this specifically? That's not the reason. Let me see. Did we touch it? It was. Mm-hmm. We hadn't gotten to that part, did we? Okay. Yeah. So the whole purpose of that's what Hanukkah means. It means to I believe it means to dedicate, not rededicate, but to dedicate. So let's go to. Let me see. I don't want that. Let's go to chapter. Go to chapter 4. Yeah, First Maccabees chapter 4. And give me a second. First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse. Let's start at 38.
First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 38. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate, and the altar profane, and the gates burned up, and shrubs growing in the courts as in a forest, or in one of the mountains, yea, and the priest's chambers pulled down, they rent their clothes and made great lamentation, and cast ashes upon their heads, and fell down flat to the ground upon their faces, and blew an alarm with the trumpets, and cried toward heaven.
So they've now come back to the temple. They see that it was destroyed, and they're mourning. Read on.
Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary.
Right, read.
So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the law.
So he chose very specific people to even help with the process of cleansing and rededicating the temple. Read.
who cleanse the sanctuary and bear out the defiled stones into an unclean place. And when as they consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profaned,
Because when you read in the history, they were sacrificing swine's flesh to the Greek idols, Greek main deity known as Zeus. So they completely defiled the holy altar. They were trying to figure out now, what do we do with it? Like, do we just clean it? Do we just, what do we do? Read.
they thought it best to pull it down, lest it should be a reproach to them, because the heathen hath defiled it. Wherefore they pulled it down.
So they just destroyed it altogether. But also, that's what the law says. The law says when the carcass of an unclean animal touches like your oven or your stove, you break it down, you tear it down. So it was the same concept with the altar. If they were sacrificing swine's flesh and abominable things to the holiest thing, because we literally send up offerings to the Lord with this, it would make the most sense to tear it down and start over. So that's what they did. Read on.
And laid upon the stones in the mountain of the temple in a convenient place, until there should come a prophet to show what should be done with them.
Read.
Then they took whole stones according to the law, and built a new altar according to the former.
Right. So they took the mother stones and they just threw them in a corner because they knew it was something holy. It was profane, but it was literally chosen by the Most High. They're like, damn, do we just throw it away? We'll just leave it over here until somebody comes to us and tell them the Lord said what to do with it. And then they started rebuilding the temple. Read.
And made up the sanctuary, and the things that were within the temple, and hollowed the courts. They made also new holy vessels, and into the temple they brought the candlestick, and the altar of burnt offerings, and of incense, and the table. And upon the altar they burned incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlestick they lighted.
Drop down to verse 52.
Verse 52. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month Caslu, in the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning, and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings, which they had made. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it, even it that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success. And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days.
And that's why it's an 8-day feast. They kept the dedication of the altar for 8 days. Read.
And offered burnt offerings with gladness, and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise.
Right.
They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold.
Drop down to 50. Read verse 58.
Verse 58. Thus was there very great gladness among the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away.
Because we got the temple back. We had regained the temple, and actually we'll read.
Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days.
So some people don't keep the feast of dedication because they say, well, it's not one of the feasts that the Lord proclaimed. You read in Leviticus 23. Right here, it was Judas that proclaimed it, and it was something that we decided we were going to do from year to year in commemoration of the Most High allowing us to defeat our enemies and get our temple back and rededicate it. But some people say, well, we don't have to keep it because it's not one of the feast days in Leviticus 23 where God said to keep it. But these are still holy men of the Most High. So we keep it 2 reasons. One, because why not commemorate what the Most High did for us, number one. And number two, these were Levites. These were sons of a Levite. These were righteous men, and they said to do it. So I'm very inclined to believe that the Lord put it on their spirits to do just that. So we keep the feast of dedication in commemoration of the Lord and the things that he did for us, and because these holy men told us to. Read on.
Verse 59. Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days, from the 25th day of the month Caslu, with mirth and gladness.
Read.
At that time also they builded up the Mount Sion with high walls and strong towers round about, lest the Gentiles should come and tread it down, as they had done before. And they set their garrison to keep it, and fortified Bethsura to preserve it, that the people might have a defense against Idumea.
Because those individuals came, if you go back and you read earlier. I don't remember if it's earlier in chapter 4 or if it's chapter 3, but it goes into, actually, it might have been in chapter 2, where it goes into basically Gorgias, which was, or Gorgias, he was a captain. He was the one that came in and started abusing the Jews, took over the temple and everything. And so Judas came back later on and whooped on the Greeks, and then took the temple back, and then that's when we rededicated it. But you would have to read First Maccabees 1 all the way to chapter 4 to get the history of the Feast of Dedication, because there was a number of things that led up to it, and it was a lot of bloodshed, a lot of even revolt, and it was kind of for lack of better words, the start to the overall Maccabean revolt. Because from this point on, after Mattathias died, Judas, Simon, Jonathan, it was back-to-back wars with the Greeks, because we was just like, we not going to be bound down to this. So, but in short, yeah, Hanukkah is, or the Feast of Dedication is the rededication of the temple. He said, so it's not what? Yeah, because again, these was righteous men of the Most High. You go back; these were literally. Watch this. First Maccabees 2, verse 1. Let me show you something.
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 1. In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Joarib from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin.
Right. Now, let's go over to 1 Chronicles 24. 24:1. And there's a reason why I'm showing you this. 1 Chronicles chapter 24, read 1 and 2, and then drop down to 7. Got it. 24 and 1.
First Chronicles chapter 24, verse 1. Now these are the divisions of the sons of Aaron. The sons of Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died before their father and had no children. Therefore Eleazar and Ithamar executed the priest's office.
So now we see that this is the lineage of Aaron. Read verse 7.
Verse 7. Now the first lot came forth to Jehoiarib, the second to Jediah, the third to Harim, the fourth to Seorim.
I just needed verse 7. It says, now the first lot, let's go back to verse 1. It says, now these are the divisions of the sons of Aaron, of the sons of Aaron. The sons of Aaron, Nadab, so on and so forth, right? Now, part of the division was the first lot, which came to Jehoiarib, which was the second, and the second was given to Jediah. Now, please. Now, Joarib was son of one of the priests. Mattathias was of that lineage. So he's of the lineage of the priests. So these are righteous individuals. So it would only make sense that, yeah, if not only that, but look at what they did. Mattathias was willing to die, rather willing to kill his own than to defile the temple. He was ready. If you catch me, you're going to kill me, but what you're not going to do is have me defile the temple. Matter of fact, watch this. First Maccabees 2. Let's stay in chapter 2. Let's start at verse 17.
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 17. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on this wise, Thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in the city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore, come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done, yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem.
Right, so they're talking about King Antiochus at the time. King Antiochus was the ruler of the Greeks right here. He's one of the descendants of the four Diadochi, which is also known as the successors of Alexander the Great, right? So he rules Israel. I think a portion of Egypt goes up into like the Babylon area. This is all the area that Antiochus owns, or rules. He's the king. He got officers coming down. He said, hey, we know you're a great man. We know the people follow you. Sacrifice this for us. Sacrifice this abominable thing onto your altar, because if you do it, your people will follow and do the same thing. Read on.
So shalt thou in thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards.
They even bribed him. Read.
Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away, every one from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments.
So he said, y'all all fall away from the practices. That's what a religion is, what you practice faithfully. You falling away from the practices of your forefathers of the Most High God and following these commandments of the king, though everybody else is doing that shit. Read.
Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers.
We ain't doing that. Read.
God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances.
Read.
We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion either on the right hand or the left.
Now, mind you, I'm going to flip over to chapter 1, verse 49. I want to show you something. To the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. This is what they wanted us to do. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he should die. Mattathias said, I don't give a damn. You're going to have to kill me, right? Read verse 23.
Verse 23. Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment.
So Mattathias just had this whole speech. I'm not finna forsake my God. You got the game twisted. We gonna stand for righteousness. Then you got some idiot that came from behind and said, I'll do it. I'll sacrifice for the king. You said we'll be his friend. We'll be in his household. I'll do it. Read.
Which thing when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And the altar he pulled down.
So this is when the Maccabean revolt essentially started, right? And so the whole thing was King Antiochus was going around saying, hey, I rule y'all. Y'all need to listen to me. We finna do this one world order thing. Mattathias said, no, we not. Then you had a lot of Jews that said, oh, we'll do it. But in this particular situation, they did it in front of Mattathias, and Mattathias blew a gasket. He killed the dude that was asking him to do it, and he killed the dude that decided to run in front of him and do it, even though he didn't heard Mattathias' whole speech, and he still decided he was going to do it. So all of that to say, these were righteous men. So if they're like, we're going to hold this a day unto the Lord, well, I'm inclined to believe them, because they was willing to fight and die for the people, for Israel, for the Most High. So, and it's a feast. It's a feast to literally commemorate us dedicating the most holy thing, rededicating the most holy thing to the Lord.
And they was keeping it, while Christ was here.
Yeah, they was.
That wasn't anything,
Go to John chapter 10.
Christ telling us not to partake in. That was a custom of our people, and a righteous one.
Because now the thing is, it doesn't say Christ quote unquote kept it, but it was referenced. And if it was referenced in the New Testament, clearly the Jews knew about it. And John chapter 10 and verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reason why it even named it. It's indicating a particular season. But if it was, you'll see when it's quoted.
Right. And I'm
John
sure if they
10.
was keeping it this year, they kept it in all the previous and following years.
Right.
So this is the book of John, chapter 10, verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication. and it was winter.
Right. So they're saying that in Jerusalem they were in the feast of the dedication. So it didn't say and Christ kept, but it's showing you that everybody was keeping it. In Jerusalem right now, it was the feast of dedication. Everybody was in that feast. Oh, well, yeah, that's true. During the time of dedication. Exactly. So, and that's the thing, because some people argue, well, you know, we don't adhere to the Apocrypha, it's not canon, whatever the case is, but the Bible clearly shows you that there are a number of things in the Apocrypha, exactly, that the Jews were still doing. And a lot of it that the, when you read in the Old Testament, it alludes to in the Apocrypha later down the line too. But that's what the Feast of Dedication was for.
Kind of all praises. And definitely still, because, you know, there's no way we can cover the whole history of it. Still read through the book so you can get all of the details and see exactly why we want to rededicate ourselves to the Most High, why we thank and praise the Most High, right? I just want to get 2 scriptures real quick. Give me Job chapter 9 and verse 21. Because it's a good thing to even have this as a conversation that's being broadcasted to the world. You know, a bunch of blacks and Latinos getting ready to keep, and some people already keeping, right, the Feast of Dedication. This is something our people should be, you know, jumping for joy about. The whole world has convinced us and getting us ready to celebrate Christmas when that does nothing for our people but keep us in sin. But yet the Most High has given us things to where we could celebrate and truly have a reason to celebrate. We got deliverance from our enemies. That's huge. Yeah, it's huge, right? So let's read that, Job 9 and 21.
Job chapter 9, verse 21. Though I were perfect, yet would I not know my own soul. I would despise my life.
You know, and the reason why I bring this scripture out is to really just highlight the fact of the lives our people live. They'll never fully say it or even outright say it, but our people despise the lives that we have because we don't truly know who we are. When we're talking about, you know, feast days and the Feast of the Most High, that's literally our culture, the one thing that America has stripped our people of. We get mad when white people want to, you know, start rapping and stuff like that. We call them culture vultures. Whole time we're keeping European and pagan holidays. That's not our culture, right? So we're sitting here talking about the Feast of Hanukkah, the Feast of Dedication. This is something our people should be thrilled, right, and excited about celebrating. Go to Joel chapter 2, verse 27. And it helps to know our culture. It helps to know your own soul. The way we find ourselves and find our souls is by reading this Bible. Joel chapter 2, verse 27.
Joel 2 and 27, and ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel.
Right, so this is something our people have to know, and that's why we continuously do lessons and we broadcast it to the world, because we want our people to know truly the Most High, His Spirit dwells amongst the children of Israel. Go ahead.
And that I am the Lord your God and none else.
And we have to know that the God of this Bible is only the God of us. He said it himself. He said nobody else. So we can't continue to include everybody in the love of God when God already said, look, I love y'all. But here's the kicker. Go ahead.
And my people shall never be ashamed.
You see that? Right now, our people be ashamed to say, oh, yeah, I'm an Israelite. Well, why? Because look at how they treated Kanye when he said he was an Israelite. Look at how they treated Nick Cannon and all these other celebrities who finally speak out and say, yes, we are the real Jews. We are the Israelites. And they see how the media attacks them, and they feel ashamed. Don't feel ashamed. The Most High said, you got to know that I only love y'all, right? You have a culture and a history that's rich. We should not, excuse me, we should not be ashamed to say we are the people of the Most High. So, you know, definitely dig into that history.
And since we're on the topic of particular history, because we are rolling into the quote unquote holiday season. Until I guess we get some more questions flowing in, let's deal with that really quickly. Go to Colossians chapter 2, and also Jeremiah 10. It doesn't matter whichever one comes first. We can deal with it. We're gonna deal with both of them.
Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 2.
Yes.
Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them.
Right. So first and foremost, this is something that we were told a while ago. He said, oh no, what happened? Need to see what happened back there. The Most High said, don't follow the way of the heathens. And don't be confused, dismayed, in awe at the signs of heaven as they are. Because when you look into history, they worshiped. And it says, don't be dismayed at the signs of heaven. Now, when you look into history, the Greeks did it, the Romans did it, the Babylonians did it. Oh, no, we're not. They all had a degree of, idolatry. They worshiped the stars. They worshiped the signs of heaven. They had deities for every element of creation. Scripture say don't do that, right? Read on.
Verse 3, for the customs of the people are vain.
Right, now we're going to get into something very familiar. Read.
Because the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not.
Read.
They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born. Because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good.
Right, so it tells you the custom of the people are vain. They take a tree out of the forest, the work of hands, the work of the hands of the workmen. Then it says that they deck it with silver and gold. There's actually a song, a Christmas carol, if you will, that talks about deck the halls with, I don't even know the actual song. But a lot of people, it's funny, because a lot of people, we have this conversation with people all the time, like, what does it sound like? You cut a tree out of the forest, you place it up in your house, you fasten it with nails, put silver and gold on it. Now we put, red and then candy canes and stock, all the extra stuff on it. What does that sound like? Well, to me, it just sounds like a tree. Okay, of course, you get to, playing stupid. But that is only a portion of the history of a portion of the paganism in Christmas. Christmas has a ton of non-biblical customs. It has a bunch of idolatry, from the wreath to the tree to the mistletoe, which is supposed to help to the wreath and the mistletoe are both supposed to be like good luck charms for fertility. Then you have the fact that when you research the history of Christmas, it's founded rather from a completely different holiday, a Roman holiday. A Roman holiday with Roman, Greek, and Babylonian customs all infused in one. And when you research the history of Christmas, Christmas was actually banned in like the 1600s because it was so immoral, the things that they would do. They would get drunk. Boondocks explained it the best. He said men would get drunk, have sex with each other, beat their wives, and walk around singing butt naked. That's where Christmas caroling comes from, actually. And so when people are sitting there saying Jesus is the reason for the season, you're not doing your history. You're not doing the research. Read Colossians chapter 2. Colossians chapter 2 and verse 8.
Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
He said, beware lest someone spoil you, someone ruin you, someone destroy you through their own philosophies and their deceit. Read.
After the tradition of man,
After man's tradition. Read.
after the rudiments of the world,
Read.
and not after Christ.
And this ain't got nothing to do with Christ. But a lot of us get confused. Like when you talk to people out there, oh, you better not tell my kids Santa doesn't exist. Well, we tell our kids all the time, you better be honest, don't you lie. Y'all lie to y'all kids every damn year. But that is so hypocritical. You lie to your kids every year. Oh, Santa bought all this. First of all, Santa ain't real. And there's no way you can teach and tell your child not to lie, and you sitting there lying to them all the time. Oh, it's innocent. It's for the kids. It's not that big of a deal. Yes, it is. In the eyes of God, yes, it is. Same thing with Thanksgiving. Same thing with Easter. Same thing with bootleg New Year's. It all matters to God because obedience is obedience. And the scriptures tell us we should not be teaching our kids stuff like that. Scriptures say we should be teaching our kids the laws, the statutes, and commandments so they can grow up in righteousness. Because since we didn't do it, that's how we ended up here anyway. Since we didn't do it, if you pay attention to the world right now, generations are getting worse and worse. The youth don't respect the elderly. The agenda of liberalism is at an all-time high. We have entered into the realm of feelings over facts. Nobody cares about what the actual facts say. We care about how we feel, and you better not offend or upset us. That's the mindset. And it's because we got parents not teaching the children right from wrong. So when we talk about this particular thing, we don't celebrate Christmas. We celebrate Hanukkah because Hanukkah is in the Bible. Dedication is in the Bible. Christmas is not in the Bible. Not in the sense of God telling us we should celebrate it. More so in the sense of God saying we should kill people who are celebrating it because it's idolatry. There's a couple of things I guess we can go over since we don't have any questions. A couple of doctrines we could touch on. One of them is, I've been hearing a few of them actually. It's the crazy part. Trying to think which one we could touch on. One of them is, this was a recent one that I guess I actually stirred up. The pants doctrine. I had a lot of people upset about that. Not that I care. There's a very strong hold on our women, and some of the men too, because men play stupid. Let's go to Deuteronomy 22. So we can gain an understanding of this doctrine.
Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
For all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy God.
Right. Now, so, this is a scripture that brothers go to explain women should not wear pants, right? Go to Job. It's another one in Deuteronomy. I'm trying to see. I know it's one in Job for sure. Go to Job chapter 8 and verse 8.
Job 8 and 8. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers.
Right. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 7.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee.
Now, why did I go to these? I'm talking about pants. Because when you understand the Bible, you got to understand culture. You got to understand the history. The Bible even tells you to go look into the history, right? So, The argument is that show me in the Bible where it says women can't wear pants. You know they have women pants. Okay. Number of things. Number one. Say it again. We're gonna deal with that too, right? But number one, because then what happens is they're explaining, okay, so, and this is where we get into it being a stronghold. People will start to justify as best they can. So well, if we're explaining what pants are, that's some clothing for the lower body where you put one leg in and then the other. So are you saying that women can't wear underwear either? No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. It's not that difficult. Let's not overcomplicate it. I said, because a grown-ass man ain't finna put on a G-string. I've heard that argument a number of times. I just heard it recently yesterday. Grown-ass man ain't finna put on a thong. Not finna put on no panties. Them is not pants. And we know that they're not pants. Pants are a particular type of garment for your lower body. And when you look into history, this is why I went to those scriptures. Well, because what happens is y'all read the scripture and then y'all go outside the Bible because we can't. The issue is it becomes very convenient when you talking to Israelites. You know they always want to go into history. They go into the Bible, but they go into the history too because the Bible says go to the history. Okay, cool. But then when it's convenient or inconvenient for you, is well, why you can't just keep it in the Bible? Well, technically I am. I'm obeying what the Bible said to go and research my history. So when you go and research the history of the creation of pants, women did not wear pants. There were two anomalies. Warriors in Greece and warriors in Africa. And then they claimed that there was some Asians, some Asian horseback rider, something like that wore pants. But society as a whole didn't do that. I'm talking about all of the known world at that time. You had one that was a phenomenon that used to have everybody else like, yo, what the hell? They were warriors. First of all, women ain't supposed to be warriors. So that would be a stupid argument to make. Africa had the same thing. I forgot the name of that particular that group, but they have female warriors as well. Oh, they touched that. It might not. I don't think it's that particular tribe, but these particular women warriors, they say, wore pants. One, you're not even supposed to. Our women ain't supposed to be going to war. And two, the fact that when these people went to war, these women went to war, people was like kind of thrown off, like, yo, what the hell's going on? That shows you that it wasn't normal. We didn't do that. Society as a whole didn't do that. Now, let's even take a step back or a step forward into modern history. In the Western Hemisphere, which we pretty much are an extension of Rome, an extension of Europe, rather. Greece, Rome, Britain, all of them. Whatever they was doing ends up over here, whatever, right? So, ancient history, they wasn't doing it. Over here in the Western Hemisphere, they were not doing that. Up until 100 and some change years ago. If that. I don't even think it's been 100 years yet. It's been about 90 years. So let's say I'm gonna max it out, 150 years, maybe. That was not something that was normal over here either. But then people will try to justify, well, technically shirts was made for just men too. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. They had what we call t-shirts, like originally, like t-shirts like this used to be undershirts. Women had these. Men started wearing them on top of their clothes, like as regular shirts. The first shirt that was created was, I guess, they say was for men, but women already had types of shirts. They were t-shirts that they would wear under their blouses, under their dresses. A blouse is a type of a shirt too, yeah. But I'm giving you, this is what we have to deal with, because this particular thing is such a stronghold on our people. And it's not that difficult. It's really not that difficult. But because we want so badly to do wrong, we're going to make a million excuses from, well, you know, technically pants, you saying pants by definition, you know, if we put one leg in, then the other leg, ain't nobody say that. Everybody know what the hell pants are. Because if you're making that stupid argument, then we got the issue of underwear, panties and thongs and boxers and boxer briefs. Which is which? We know which is which. Let's not play stupid. Talking about jeans and khakis and even those flowy pants, all of that stuff. And then this is the icing on the cake. Well, men's pants ain't for women. Women got women pants. First of all, unless you talk about white girls, majority of our women are very shapely. I don't give a damn what quote-unquote modest pants you give them. It's not going to be modest. Now, one may argue, well, show me in the law where it says you got to be modest. They may try to pull that. Because, you know, 1 Timothy 10:9 ain't in the law, I guess. That's the only, is it 1 Timothy? It is 1 Timothy 2:9, right? 1 Timothy 2:9 technically ain't in the law. So you'll probably get some stupid argument like that. But at the end of the day, the Bible says what it says. It's not that deep. History of pants made for men. Nobody in the Eastern world wore it, with the exception of a few. Doesn't mean it was right. Then they make this argument. Not to mention, let's go into the Hebrew word gabar. Let's go into the Hebrew word gabar. And this is one that irks my soul, because all of a sudden everyone becomes a Hebrew linguist, a doctor in the Hebrew language. Well, when you look at the word, you know, pertaineth unto a man is gabar. So it's saying technically gabar ain't just a man, it's a warrior. So a woman's not supposed to wear what a warrior wears, so she shouldn't be wearing the shield and the boots. That's bullshit. Because then we can just read down. No, but this is the point, right? Because you're exactly right. First of all, when you go into that Hebrew word, gabar means a valiant man or warrior, generally a person, simply everyone, man, mighty, outline of biblical usage, a man, a strong man, or a warrior. But they said it just means warrior. No, it doesn't. It has a number of definitions. Now, let's contextualize. I'm going to show you something. It says, what is that, verse 5? The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, a warrior. Neither shall a man, this is the same word, gabar, so we're going to put warrior there too. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a warrior, neither shall a warrior put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord. So if it's only talking about warrior, what about, you know, the farmers? What about the blacksmiths? It's cool for them to do it, because they're not warriors. And this law is only saying warriors can't do it. What if I'm a doctor? What if I'm a merchant? I'm not a warrior. I could throw me on a dress. I could throw on a skirt, right? I mean, if I'm standing in the house, you go in the backyard or something, I wear whatever I want, right? But that shows again, when people want to just justify stuff, they just say anything. It's simple. Just obey God. Is it really that deep? Is it really that hard? So when we talk about the pants, this is what they call it, the pants doctrine. When we talk about the pants doctrine, the Most High is simple. Obey me. And what's so cold is this doctrine is so strong on our women. You hear them fighting us on it. Not only men, but the women fighting us on it. Not only that, you see people want to be spiritual when they want to be spiritual. Because when I say this, boy, you reaching. Niggas want to be spiritual when they want to be spiritual. You see the spirit that the women who fight, not the ones who've warned them in the past, but the ones who still fighting you on it. You see the spirit of those women in the truth and outside the truth that will fight you on the quote-unquote pants doctrine. You see they spirit. You see how they talk to everyone else. You see how they deal with brothers even with this doctrine. You can see that they have this masculine spirit about them. Pants have a masculine spirit about, because shit, what is it? The phrase of who wears the skirt in the relationship? Is that what it was? Who wears the pants in the relationship? There's an actual, and it's so cold because it's like, again, people are spiritual when they want to be. Because, man, you know, I just can feel that I got the spirit of Levi. So you telling me that I can't say that a woman has some type of masculine spirit because the spirit behind pants is masculine? No, see, no, brother, you reaching. Nah, you reaching when you trying to use Genesis 49 to break down what tribe you from. Because then I can sit there and go straight to the Simeon and Levi situation. It don't say anything specific about those two individuals. Just said they both had instruments of cruelty. They both will be divided in Israel. How we know which one's Levi and which one's Simeon? Their prophecy was together. How do we know that? Just the spirit. Well, the spirit of pants is masculine. But they're going to fight you on it. They're going to fight you on it. And it used to be so cold because I'm like, man, ain't no way I know I'm not tripping. But pay attention to the ones that will fight you on this topic and see the type of spirit they got. Because I don't be saying much, but I be watching. I'm like, it's true. Perfect example when you watch on certain social media platforms, right? Clubhouse is one of them. A lot of people got a lot of things to say in the little back chat or whatever. Even Facebook, a lot of people got stuff to say on the statuses. And I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, that's, she a part of such and such. Oh, that's such and such homegirl, or that's such and such wife. And I know which ones are which. But the ones that don't believe the pants doctrine have this spirit about them. But see, it's a stretch when I say it. It's a reach when I say it. The scriptures are clear. We have to stop trying to justify everything. We have to stop trying to make an excuse for everything. Most High said just obey. Obey. It's that simple. I want to deal with another one. I want to deal with one more. Because this is one that this is an issue that we have just amongst the nation as a whole. Let's go to Sirach, chapter 19. And 24.
Sirach 19 and 24. He that hath small understanding and feareth God is better than one that hath much wisdom and transgresseth the law of the Most High.
So we have this issue in Israel where we see people that they know the scriptures, they're mighty in the scriptures, and we just deem them righteous because they study. But a lot of these people don't fear God. How do we know? Well, you look at their congregations, you look at how they deal with people, their mannerisms. You look at the events and the issues that they have had over, however long they've been in the truth, whether it be fornication accusations, moving and dealing in a worldly or unwise fashion, putting away women unrighteously, doctrines that are clearly wicked, but you don't find them in the law. we can see when individuals fear God and when they don't fear God. But say it again.
Say adding and taking away from the word.
Essentially adding and taking away from the word, huh?
Basically what that is.
And we can see what the spirit of an individual is, but there's a true fear of judgment in Israel. There's a true fear of I don't want to judge. I don't want to step on no toes. I don't want to offend. I don't want to say something because then, they're going to put me on blast. I don't want to say something because then they're going to start to make me look stupid. You go to Leviticus. Leviticus 19. I've had this conversation, and it's funny because I've had this conversation with some of the sisters here. When we start to fall into the point of I don't feel like doing this or I don't want to do this because of how this person may feel or how I may step on their toes over here or how they're going to complain. Watch this. Leviticus 19 and 17.
Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him.
So, scriptures say you are not to hate your brother or sister in your heart. But then it goes on to tell you how you don't hate them. You shall in any wise, you shall for sure under every circumstance rebuke them and suffer not sin upon them. When you going off, you need to be checked. We have had situations, even here. I don't feel like because, such and such, I don't feel like hearing their mouth. And, they always got an excuse. So all of that, how you feeling and how you don't want to hurt their feelings, you willing to, you more scared of them than God. You willing to disobey God to save face. You willing to disobey God to save, to not hurt someone's feelings or to not have to get in an argument with somebody, especially when it's something that's needed. You willing to disobey God because, man, that's my boy. I know he gonna feel away if I say something. And, I just want to keep the peace. I'm literally gonna break the law because I don't want to have no issues. I want to keep the peace. This is a spirit that permeates through Israel. When it comes to counseling, when it comes to problem resolutions, when it comes to correction. I mean, I ain't been actual counsel. Hey, man, call your brother. He on some business. No, that's just him. That shouldn't just be just him. The hell you mean that's just him? That's just, that's just his spirit. But that nigga's spirit wicked. So you need to call him and tell him to check his spirit. Oh, that brother, he's just controversial. He problematic. Well, that's cool. If maybe he's like controversial and cutting up, like Muslims or Christians that's teaching false doctrine, but when he's doing it with his brothers, it's because he's an asshole. No, you need to check his spirit. That brother's wicked. And he need to be checked on it. But people don't want to do this because they don't want to offend, quote unquote. Cold part is, there's a difference between being offensive and someone being offended. I could say, man, Shamar, I think you ain't been studying as much as I feel like you should. I feel like you've been slacking. And he gets offended. I didn't say nothing offensive. Brother, you need to step it up. And he's offended. That's a you problem. Check your spirit. The hit dog holler. And that's the crazy part because the scriptures tell you to do that out of love. And that's the cold part. Oh, I don't want to offend. Then you don't love your brother. If you really my boy, you really my sis, you really my brother, you don't care if it's going to upset me. If I need to hear something, you're going to tell me. But a lot of us either don't know the law or we don't really love God. We don't really fear God. We more scared of what you gonna say to me about what I said to you than what God gonna do to me for disobeying him. That's the world that we live in. Even in the truth. I done had that conversation so many times with people, and it just doesn't stick. But that's why scriptures tell you, harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. More sincere laborers are needed to truly show love to their brothers and their sisters. I offend a lot of people in the congregation. Ain't no secret. Everybody know this. It's true. Now, occasionally I've actually been offensive, but a lot of times I just offend. And I'm just honest, you know. I Leviticus 19 it, and y'all don't be liking it. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, the one thing everybody knows, if something needs to be said, well, I know who's gonna say it. We need more of that in Israel. Of course, you know, you have some that have a softer touch. So, of course, we need a balance. But we need more of that in Israel because a lot of brothers don't realize how much they hate their neighbors, hate their brothers, hate the Most High, and disobeying them. But we're going to go ahead and give it about 5 more minutes, see if some questions roll in. I know. I didn't want to do that. Yeah, just 5. Hang out here for a minute, 3 minutes at 8:50. If ain't no questions came in, then we'll shut it down. What's crazy is, yeah, I see. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing right now. I don't know what the issue was earlier. Oh. So I'm just assuming that the people that are watching know all the Bible because nobody got no questions. No, I think it's just picking it up. Yeah. Ooh, that's weird. We gonna give it 2 more minutes. If y'all got questions, ask your questions. Yeah, but I don't know. Right. Yeah, I guess. Right. I guess. Nah, it's usually on either side actually. There's usually way more here too. Yeah, it's usually much more over there too. But yeah, it is what it is. I guess everybody know the Bible. We should start asking questions. Sir. Got about a minute left, right? Got about a minute left. Oof. Oh, that's whatchamacallit, yeah. Yeah, I think so. I assume so. Oh man. I haven't read about that history. I haven't heard anything about that specifically. Right. Oops. I read and did research that the Spartans were Israelites. I'm not 100% sure about that. Yeah, but it is what it is. I definitely have to do some research on that. Maybe we'll bring that back up next month. Because I haven't heard that one before. I've heard that 300 was based off of, the Israelites in the Bible, but I don't think that's exactly true. Because that event actually happened in history. So, well, it's 8:50. Guess nobody had questions tonight. All praise to the Most High. We were able to answer the few questions that we did get. Lord willing, it was edifying to those who were in attendance physically and virtually. We're going to get ready to close it out. Every first Monday of the month, we have Q&A. If you got questions, bring the questions. We know that everybody don't know everything. And a lot of the people that come into the audience, you guys should come in here with your questions ready, because unless you know the whole Bible and you're just sitting here to see if we're plundering or blundering, y'all should have questions. But, all praise to the Most High. We answered the few questions that we did get. All praise to the Most High that we are able to do this monthly. We don't profess to know everything, but we know enough. All praise to the Most High. And the things that we don't know, we go on with research and we'll bring it back to you. Be sure to tap into all of our other classes. Tomorrow, Bible Basics. Wednesdays, World History According to the Bible. Thursday, second and fourth Thursdays are Stick to the Script. Friday, Room 144. Saturday, Feed the Sheep. Make sure you tap into these classes. Make sure you feed in your spirit. Make sure that you guys are sharing the content, subscribing to the YouTube, liking the Facebook page, so we can make sure that the algorithm is going, so we can get this word out to the people. With that being said, Q&A, Brother Yash, Brother Darash, Brother Shamar, we signing out. Shalom, family.